Donald Trump doesn't like Elizabeth Warren. It's not so much her policies that he's not a fan of. There's one little specific thing about her that he keeps coming back to, and he did it in a particular way that has generated, I think, some deserved conversation online when he tweeted, "Today, Elizabeth Warren, sometimes referred to by me as Pocahontas, joined the race for president. Will she run as our first Native American presidential candidate? Or has she decided that after 32 years, this is not playing so well anymore? See you on the campaign trail, Liz." So if you have lived in America and if you know anything about what the American government has historically done to Native Americans, you know that a reference to a trail means a particular thing. And then the question becomes, does Donald Trump know that he is referencing the Trail of Tears, part of the systematic, multi-decades or centuries long genocide against the Native Americans perpetrated by our country? What do you think?
You know what? Yes, I do think that I mean, here's the thing. We don't have to pretend that you have to be a historian to learn about the Trail of Tears. There are in so many ways our history books in elementary school fail. But I mean, we all learned about the Trail of Tears.
Yeah, we might not have learned about it in necessarily all of its full context and everything.
It's like first grade, yeah. So I don't think that, right, he had to go far to know what he's doing.
Exactly, yeah, and I hate that we even have to have the debate even for a minute. Obviously, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And if I seem a little bit down about politics today, it's for a few reasons, but one is, I like having interesting news to talk about, but I am so sick at this point of having to report that our president made a joke about the genocide of Native Americans.
Yeah.
Like, how depressing is that? Well, as a news viewer, as a news commentator, that we never had Barack Obama, oh yeah, he tweeted about concentration camps as a joke. We never had to do that.
Because he wouldn't.
Exactly, but with Donald Trump, we do have that. And so
the only thing they have in common, two things, they're men and they were president of the United States. There's nothing else.
Other than that.
Right, nothing.
Yeah, no, nothing else. And so some people are gonna deny that that's what he's doing. They're gonna say that after all that we know about Donald Trump, no, we couldn't be making a joke about that. And the way that they're going to make that case is gonna be a little bit condescending, not just towards us, but towards Donald Trump, which is gonna be fun when they throw him under the bus. But bear in mind that not too long ago, just a month ago, Trump tweeted, "If Elizabeth Warren, often referred to by me as Pocahontas, did this commercial from Bighorn or Wounded Knee instead of her kitchen with her husband dressed in full Indian garb, it would have been a smash." So it's offensive in like 7 different ways, but he has shown, what are you saying?
No, you go, I'm sorry.
He is perfectly happy to jokingly mock slaughters, massacres of Native Americans in this country.
And I guess it shouldn't be like a surprise or a shock, but just even the first sentence there where he says, and it was in that last tweet too, often referred to me, by me as, Pocahontas. Repeatedly, people have said, hey, this is racist, this is offensive, not just to her, but to so many Native Americans. This is offensive, and he keeps doing it. And just even that little bit, I don't know, it could have even been left out of his burn. It's just that that doesn't bother him. That's what strikes me as that something that has just been so fairly criticized. He isn't gonna budge.
Yeah,
he's just gonna dig in. Now, I can't even begin to talk about the entire discussion of the racism and problematic things in the tweet. Just even that first part. I just don't understand why he's still digging in.
There was a comedian years ago who said it was just because of what we have done to the Native Americans in our country that there's so few that you can just mock them. You just do, and you get away with it. People don't take it seriously, they don't care. The horrific historic events that our country perpetrated are you just joke. And maybe it's racism, maybe it's not. It's not clear really. There's no reason he should be censured or anything like that. But Donald Trump, while he's a moron, has surrounded himself throughout his life by stupider people. And so if he wants to slide through this without being declared to be a racist, that's gonna be undercut a little bit. He doesn't want you to think that he's talking about the Trail of Tears, but his son is an absolute moron and really undercut him there. So this guy, Michael Malice, had responded to Trump's tweet saying, "The Native American genocide continues with another murder by the president." And what you're seeing there is from Donald Trump Jr.'s Instagram, where he put that up on his Instagram and said, "Savage, love my president." So if Trump wasn't talking about the Trail of Tears or genocide against the Native Americans, his son certainly seems to have missed that message because he thinks not only is that what the joke about, but it's savage.
I mean, I just think generally murder jokes are a little beneath the office of the presidency, including his son.
Yeah.
Murdered. I don't know. It's like.
But look, as ridiculous as that is, I like this defense of Trump even better. So Brit Hume, who loves Trump, he tweeted in response to one commentator saying that it was about the Trail of Tears. Brit Hume says, yes, because Trump is noted for his knowledge of 19th century American history vis-a-vis the native population. Jeez. So what he's saying there is Trump is too stupid to be racist in this particular way. And that's a Trump supporter in the media saying that. He's a steadfast lover of Trump as president.
The best part of that tweet though is if you go and find it, the replies to it are people like giving all of these examples of Trump referring to history. And Brit has nothing to say.
Yeah,
There's
or
all these
specifically
examples,
Wounded Knee and all of that. Like that's stuff he's talked about. And look, I just want to end with just a little bit of the facts. Maybe Trump doesn't know about this stuff. Trump Jr. definitely doesn't. So hopefully they will watch this and learn something. The actual Trail of Tears, in brief, some 15,000 Native people died during the journey from exposure, malnutrition, exhaustion, and disease, including about 4,000 Cherokees. This was one of the singular worst events in an ongoing campaign to move and depopulate Native Americans from a number of parts of the US, either because the area was needed for settlement by Americans, for exploitation of resources and things like that. It was an explicitly incredibly violent and dishonest and racist campaign perpetrated by many politicians, but Andrew Jackson was one of the most significant. And look, Brit Hume, I don't know if you know this, but Donald Trump, who makes reference to few historical figures, he really does like Andrew Jackson though. Repeatedly over the past year, this is by PolitiFact, Trump has invoked and praised his predecessor in the White House, who served from 1829 to 1837. In addition to various mentions in remarks and on Twitter, Trump placed a portrait of Jackson in the Oval Office and made a pilgrimage to the late president's tomb in Nashville less than 2 months after being sworn in. Andrew Jackson was president for some time. He did a lot of things, but one of the things rightfully that he is known and vilified most for is because he was one of the most aggressively, violently anti-native presidents we've ever had in our past. He undertook barbarous campaigns against Native Americans. And Donald Trump, you can hope that he's just ignorant of that. I kind of think that that's not the case. I think that fits in perfectly with his not just presidency long campaign against natives, but throughout the course of his life, that has been a thing that has popped up very often. For whatever reason, Donald Trump, a guy who grew up in New York City, hates Native Americans and thinks that they are at best fodder for jokes. It is bizarre. It's a weird thing to have to say about your president, but it has been borne out through literally decades of his life.
Yeah, this is just a sad thing that Native Americans have to deal with because these aren't even jokes that affect Elizabeth Warren. It's just a huge number of people that their president is supposed to be their president as well, just making fun of them and minimizing what has happened to their ancestors. And it's unfortunate.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.